Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another on the water episode of Rick's Fly Bench. As you can see, it's gloriously sunny today. Yesterday, April 2nd, it was snowing in my house. Today we've got sunshine and a high of 8 degrees. I think it's a day to go fishing. Let's head out. Enjoy the day. See you on the water. Well, welcome here everybody. As you can see, we've arrived at the lake and it's a glorious day to be out on the water. We're about an hour north of the previous lake I filmed, Fuller Lake. I would describe this as a rural lake as opposed to the suburban lakes we were fishing down island earlier in the season. Spring is slowly creeping up the island, so I'm hoping for some luck up here today. And we're going to try to show you some different fishing techniques. Hopefully the fish will cooperate. If not, we may go back to the dangling. We'll see. We see what the fish dictate to us. So you can wish me luck on the water. I'm hoping to have a great day out here and to show you some good success. Take care, everybody. Let's get on the water. Fish of the morning. Been here about, I don't know, half an hour, and I threw on a green app. It's a fly out of England, and we've got a take here on the drop down. It's just as it was drifting down. It wasn't even retrieving here. So let's have a look at what we got here. Oh yeah, look at that. We've got a nice fish. Oh yeah, I think it might be a smallmouth bass. Get that fish on the reel here. I had a quick look at it there, but it was hard to determine from what I saw. It looked like a decent sized fish, and it's taking a bunch of line. It's kind of fighting like a bass too, you know. A lot of spunk. Oh no, it's a nice rainbow. Yeah, it's a nice rainbow. And my wife has asked me for a fish for dinner, and so I'm not opposed to keeping one now and then, especially when there's one will do for two of us. Casting out and retrieving the green app. Hopefully I can get one on a take on the camera for you. This strong fish. Cold, nice cold water. It's going to be a granddaughter fish. You know what? Can't sneeze at that for Vancouver Island. That is a decent fish. We're gonna keep this one for dinner and release what else we get today. But so I'm gonna tap this one. The green app. It was on the drop, and hopefully you can see that on the camera with the light behind. But I tied that last night, a couple of those, because I got the word that these suckers work, and lo and behold, they do. This is the results. Vancouver Island, I'm not going to sneeze at a fish like that. That's going to be dinner for my wife and I tonight. Just take a look at some of that scenery around here. I don't know if there's many more beautiful places on the planet. And to be fishing, and enjoying that scenery all at the same time. What a gift. So the Green app took that first fish this morning and elicited another strike or two, but wasn't able to land any more fish. Sitting in the same spot, there's a good chironomid hatch going on all around, and I've tried 2 chironomid patterns already. One got a hit, but nothing further. After about 15-20 minutes, I switched up, and I'm on my second one here now. And yeah, I'm gonna play around until I find a way to satisfy these fish. They're being a bit finicky this morning, so we'll come back to you right away. Finally got our second fish of the morning. Oh, look at that. A beauty. And had to switch up several times to find something that they would take. Now I think I might have it beyond something. It's my ostrich BMW. And we'll get this fish in and get it released real quick. What a nice fish. Beautiful fish. Look at that. Can't beat that. So yeah, a lot of playing around this morning, and I'm going to pump this fish. We'll have a look at what's in its throat. Get that barbless hook out of there. Comes out pretty easy. There we go. And again, the pumping method, moisten the stem of the pump and get it, empty it of all water. Get it down the esophagus, suck it up. There's something in there, and we'll let that little fella go. There you go, buddy. Let's have a look at what we need to try to imitate. Suck up a bunch of water and pump it out. And we've got, if we take a look here, number 14 to 16 chironomids in a gray brown, which is why the BMW did the job. Wasn't down there very long. Okay, I think we may be onto something. There's a few Daphnia in there as well. As you can see, the little red dots are Daphnia, and I tried a blob for a cast, but didn't raise any interest. So back we go with the BMW. So it's a breezy day today out on this lake, and I'm in the pontoon boat, and due to the nature of the pontoon boat, I can't operate practically more than one anchor. And as a result, there's a fair bit of swinging around. So you have to adapt your technique, your methods to the conditions and what you're able to do. So I've gone with the dangle method again. It gives me the greatest control over depth of where my fly is presented, better than an indicator. I could also go with the cast and retrieve method back to tractor patterns like the Green app, and I may do that again this afternoon. But right now I'm dangling the BMW, and that's got me the last fish, and I've got some more strikes since then. It's just adapting to the circumstances that you face on a given day. One of the things I do to help slow the swinging is I keep my feet in the water. They act as sort of a sea anchor, as it were, and slow the oscillation back and forth. A couple of fins might not hurt, but I prefer to have my feet with just the water shoes, and they really do slow the swinging back and forth. I can take my feet out and rest them up if I want to warm them up, but I've got the waders and good base layers there, so I'm able to manage the cool water. It's a good way, and it seems to be working. There's another fish on the BMW. What a perfect way to catch him. Not huge, but you know, that first one was really big. I'm really pleased with that one. And I'm sure there's some bigger ones down there. Whoop! They're feisty in this cold water, aren't they? Good, we're going to let that puppy go. Smallest one of the morning. We'll get that barbless hook out of there and put him back. Let him grow to the size of that first one. Right in the top lip. Right where they take him. Well, it looks like that's a wrap for the on the water portion of this video today, folks. Got into a few fish. We started off with the green app, casting and retrieving that, and it caught me a fish, the nicest fish of the day. And then I picked up a few more on the ostrich BNW, which is already on my channel, and you can look that one up, and I'll attach it to the end of this video if you want to connect there. One online resource I would like to highlight for you today is the Angler's Atlas. If you're not familiar with it yet, please Google it and look it up. It's a great resource for giving you directions to a lake, the potential species that you can catch there, and it often includes a bathymetric map of the lake's contours and bottom, so you can already plan which parts of the lake you'd like to target. So if you haven't done that yet, add it to your resources, including Go Fish BC's website and of course your regulations. Put those three together and you've got a dynamite set of resources to improve your fishing success. So I kept the one fish for dinner. My wife's going to be very, very happy. We're going to have that tonight. There's nothing like eating a fish on the day you caught it. And that's the best way to do it. And so we're going to enjoy that dinner tonight. And we'll close off this session with an on the bench. I'll tie you up the green app. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the water. Welcome to my fly bench. So while the green app didn't catch the most fish of the day, it certainly caught the biggest. So let's take a look at the materials you're going to need to tie it. Alright everyone, into the vise I have a Togens number 10 curved nymph hook, 2x long. It's a large fly this, and I imagine you could tie it smaller, but then the legs would get shorter and they would have less movement. And so, yeah, you could go smaller. I may do that yet. Now I'm going with my 100 denier olive green nano silk. And I've gone with nano silk over unithread because I find it has less of a tendency to cut through the silly legs. The silly legs are fairly tight, and the unis thread tends to have that ability when casting or playing fish to actually cut through the silly legs, and then you lose one or two legs off your fly, and it kind of loses its balance after that. One of the differences I've done here is I bring on my thread and tie in some silly legs first before the bead goes on. When the bead went on first, I noticed that the tire had to cross the bead with the thread going forward and back a few times, which left that thread exposed over the bead. And I didn't like the look of that, nor the potential for teeth to gnaw through that when you're playing a fish. So you'll see it as after I tie in the first set of legs, then I'll add the bead. Now I'm going with olive black silly legs, olive black with flake there in the silly legs for the tying material. It's really a simple fly because that's the only material there is in it. Now I'll take a single strand of it and I'll fold it over the thread below, trying to even out the ends as much as I can. Bring it to the top of the hook and hold it somewhat to my side while I wrap the thread over it, trying to catch it and cinch it down and keep it on top of the hook. The whole point being to have a uniform look here to the thickness of the body. So there I go, working my way forward and slowly working my way toward the eye as I hold those legs on the top of the hook there. And you can see that now I'm working my way up to the eye like that. And there I've got a nicely cinched in body there, and uniform looking. And now what I'll do up here right near the eye is I'll do a small figure of 8. I'll just go forward and then come back, go forward, and I've spread those legs apart on the front there so that they have a chance to swim back. Now anybody's guess what the trout are taking these as. I suppose when you're stripping in, when these feelers go pulling back and join the other ones back there, it may look something like a leech, but it takes a bit of imagination, creative imagination to see that. And I believe they're just taking it as a tractor like they would a booby or a fab. Now I'm going to whip finish that by hand, as those silly legs are quite long and they get in the way of a whip finish tool. So first a half hitch and then a whip finish by hand as I close off this front tying portion. And we'll just give about 4 turns of the whip finish with the hands there, and then zip that down and cut the thread off. Then we'll add our bead. So there I've got that whip finished in there, and you can see I've got those legs fairly spread wide apart there and facing forward. So I'll just get my bead here in hand, and then I'm going to add it, take the hook out, put it on there, and I put it on with the wide opening forward as you would with a chironomid pattern, so it rides up over the wrapped body of the silly legs that you've done in the front there and catches on there, just kind of locks in place. Okay, now that's looking pretty good, well in place. Now I'll bring my nano silk back and wrap it on there, work my way back, give a base of thread to the rest of the hook here. And I don't want to go too far back. Probably there is far enough for my second set of silly legs, because I'm going to be working my way back a little further, tying them down. So this time again, I'm folding them over the thread hanging down, trying to even up the ends as much as possible. And again, I'm holding the silly legs toward my side of the hook as I bind them down onto the body of the hook, onto the shank there. And there they go. They're locked in place, looking fairly long and spidery looking. And I'm just going to bind that body down there nice and tight. And then we'll get a second set of silly legs in there into the middle of the body, and we'll bring it back to that tie-in point. And the last set, we're bringing in our third set of silly legs, done exactly the same way as the rearward ones. And we'll just again hold it to my side, pull it this way, and the thread tying in rolls it onto the top of the hook. And there you have it. It's an ungainly looking thing, and yet biggest fish of the day on it. And it's worked for Phil Rowley. He ties a red version. I see in some of the versions out of the UK they have a whole body of beads. They have like 4 beads on the body. I went with 1 because the bead is a more expensive part of the tying materials, and I wanted the weight of it, but I don't think I want to have 4 on there. And I've got good sinking lines, so I don't need the weight to get the fly down. And then the legs, that's it. And I think I've seen Phil's doesn't have any bead at all. Correct me if I'm wrong there. So I'm going to lock that bead in place with a few turns of thread in here, so it's not going to go forward or back. And again, I'll give it a half hitch. Close that off there, and then give it a whip finish with the fingers again. And then we'll cut those a little bit to length. They are left fairly long, about a hook length. So I'll just get those pulled up and make sure they're kind of even, and just give them a little haircut, shorten them up a little bit. Same with these back 4. Pull them up and just give them a haircut so they're all even, and away you go. You've got your green app. Now I'm just going to touch that up. What I like to do for a bit of strength here is add a little bit of my UV resin here in front of and behind the bead, just to strengthen the thread there and strengthen the body of that thread so it doesn't unravel too quickly. Yeah, look at the legs there, how they pop with UV light. And like I said, I don't know what the fish are taking them as, but sometimes it really doesn't matter as long as they're taking them. So make sure you have a couple of these in your box as a backup. They're a great fly. They're easy to tie. Maybe a great beginner fly too for some early people just learning how to tie flies. It's really simple to tie these up. And they will catch fish for you. And that's what I'm hoping they do. So I'm wishing you tight lines and good luck. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And you can share this video with your friends if they'd be interested in such a fly and fly fishing on Vancouver Island. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.